Devaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskrityam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswati Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudirayet
Tato Jayam Udirayet.
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Ruttama Sloke
Bhagavate Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh, let me start the recording. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, verse 4. Santvayam asa munibir
Santvayam Asa Munibhir.
Hatha bandhun sucharpitan
Hata Bandhun Sucharpitan.
Bhuteshu kalasya gatim
Bhuteshu Kalasya Gatim.
Darshayanna pratikriyan
Darshayanna Pratikriyam.
Santvayam asa munibir
Santvayam Asa Munibhir.
Hatha bandhun sucharpitan
Hata Bandhun Sucharpitan.
Bhuteshu kalasya gatim
Bhuteshu Kalasya Gatim.
Darshayanna pratikriyam.
Darshayanna Pratikriyam.
Santvayam asa munibir
Santvayam Asa Munibhir.
Hatha bandhun sucharpitan
Hata Bandhun Sucharpitan.
Bhuteshu kalasya gatim
Bhuteshu Kalasya Gatim.
Darshayanna pratikriyam.
Darshayanna Pratikriyam.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanavinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Synonyms: Santvayam asa, pacified.
Santvayam Asa, pacified.
Muni B, along with the Munis present there.
Muni B, along with the Munis present there.
Hatha Bandhun, those who lost their friends and relatives.
Hata Bandhun, those who lost their friends and relatives.
Suchar Pithan, all shocked and affected.
Suchar Pitan, all shocked and affected.
Bhuteshu, unto the living beings.
Bhuteshu, unto the living beings.
Kalasya, of the supreme law of the Almighty.
Kalasya, of the supreme law of the Almighty.
Gatim, reactions.
Gatim, reactions.
Darshayan, demonstrated.
Darshayan, demonstrated.
Na, no.
No.
Pratikriyam, remedial measures.
Pratikriyam, remedial measures.
Translation, please recite after me. Citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and the reactions upon living beings.
Citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and their reactions upon living beings,
Lord Sri Krishna and the Munis began to pacify.
Lord Sri Krishna and the Munis began to pacify
those who were shocked and affected.
Those who were shocked and affected.
Purport.
The stringent laws of nature under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be altered by any living entity. The living entities are eternally under the subjugation of the Almighty Lord. The Lord makes all the laws and orders, and these laws and orders are generally called dharma or religion. No one can create any religious formula. Bona fide religion is to abide by the orders of the Lord. The Lord's orders are clearly declared in the Bhagavad Gita. Everyone should follow him only or his orders, and that will make all happy, both materially and spiritually. As long as we are in the material world, our duty is to follow the orders of the Lord. And if by the grace of the Lord we are liberated from the clutches of the material world, then in our liberated stage also we can render transcendental loving service unto the Lord. In our material stage, we can see neither ourselves nor the Lord for want of spiritual vision. But when we are liberated from material affection and are situated in our original spiritual form, we can see both ourselves and the Lord face to face. Mukti means to be reinstated in one's original spiritual status after giving up the material conception of life. Therefore, human life is specifically meant for qualifying ourselves for this spiritual liberty. Unfortunately, under the influence of illusory material energy, we accept this, this spot life of only a few years as our permanent existence and thus become illusioned by possessing so-called country, home, land, children, wife, community, wealth, etc., which are false representations created by Maya illusion. And under the dictation of Maya, we fight with one another to protect these false possessions. By cultivating
Very good.
spiritual knowledge, by cultivating spiritual knowledge, we can realize that we have nothing to do with all these material paraphernalia. Then at once we become free from material attachment. This clearance of the misgivings of material existence at once takes place by association with the Lord's devotees, who are able to inject the transcendental sound into the depths of the bewildered heart, and thus make one practically liberated from all lamentation and illusion. That is a summary of the pacifying measures for those affected by the reaction of stringent material laws, exhibited in the forms of birth, death, old age, and disease, which are insoluble factors of material existence. The victims of war, namely the family members of the Kurus, were lamenting the problems of death, and the Lord pacified them on the basis of knowledge. Hare Krishna, sir.
Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swamin Itin Namine Namo Acharya Padaya Nitaya Kripa Pradhayine Gaura Kata Damadhaya Nagara Grama Tarine Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadhe Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Araya Nama, Krishna Yadavaya Namaha, Gopala Govindaram, Sri Madhusudanam, Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangun Langai Tegiri Metkripa Tamaham Mande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyameshwaram. Hari Om Tat Sat. So this is a very beautiful verse where Lord Sri Krishna and the Munis have pacified them by talking of law of karma, the stringent law of karma, which is never ever be controlled by anybody other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Controller. Santvayan Asam Munibir. So along with the Munis present there, Krishna has pacified them. And how does they do that? Citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and the reactions upon living beings. Very, very beautifully narrated in one statement here in the Bhagavatam. Very beautifully given. What is law of karma? How it is keeping one entangled within the material clutches, undergoing the sufferings. Because the living entity is working very hard under the bodily conception. I am this, I am that, my duty is this, therefore I shall do it. So these are all mental impressions, and all these activities are temporary. Nonetheless, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity gets a chance in order to execute all his mental concoctions, so he's getting another body. So that is called death. So this is the stringent laws of the Almighty. Because as long as one is absorbed in the bodily conception, his activities are performed on that platform only. That is not very difficult to understand, right? Because in this world, we see that every nation is trying to supersede every other nation, and that every man is trying to advance beyond his fellow men. So you can see all these activities are going on under the name of advancement of civilization. So there are many plans for making the body comfortable. And these plans are carried in the subtle body after the destruction of the gross body. So which means the person who is so-called died is not died. He is still carrying his plans that he was trying to execute through his past body. But he lost the body, but these plans are, subsequently carried by the subtle body after the destruction of the gross body. It's not a fact that after the gross body is destroyed, the living entity is finished. Even great philosophers and teachers in this world, they are under the impression that after the body is finished, everything is finished. See the foolishness. But that is not the fact. Narad Muni was advising Prachina Barhishat regarding using a Puranjana story and then further stories in order to, protect the animal sacrifices that he was performing in the name of pious activities, and to remove him from the entanglement of birth, death, old age, disease. Prachina Barhishat was a very great king, and he was following his teachers very sincerely. But when Narad Muni advised him, Prachina Barhishat was shocked. How is it that contradictory instructions are taught by my teachers to what you are saying? That means the teachers also, they don't know what is devotional service. I have locked up in such a teacher who does not know the goal of life. I've been spending lots of time of mine with a lot of sacrifices, killing animals, creating pieties for the next birth to be got birth in a heavenly planets. So Prachina Barhishat was very shocked when Narad Muni revealed the secret of devotional service. Prachina Barhishat said that, this devotional service cannot be understood by great rishis and munis, because they are all advising me fruitive activity. He was shocked. So in that, the Narad Muni is telling that the death one takes his plans with him actually. When you die, your plans are not died. The plans that you make using subtle body, not a gross body. Gross body you are trying to enjoy based on the plan that you make using the subtle body. So to execute these plans, he has to get another body. This is called Punarbhava. So the secret here, which was told that how the law was made by or order is made by the Lord, is that when you perform an activity, being situated in one body is nothing but the plans of your previous body. When you plan to enjoy that particular plan, that particular activity of enjoying is done by subtle body. And for that, you have to get another gross body, not this gross body. That is the reason you are seeing differences. People are always unsatisfied and they are all ubhadratar, always disturbed. Because when the gross body is finished, the plans of the living entity are taken by the mind, and by the grace of the Lord, the living entity gets a chance to give these plans a shape in the next life. This is known as the law of karma. That was the law of karma here explained by this Krishna and the Munis who are assembled together. So in the name of religion, this kind of temporarily bodily concept of life platform, the activities are like that. The plans are carried by the subtle body to the next gross body in order to use the gross body as an instrument. Gross body generally is just a covering only. The real plans and activities are done by the subtle body. So as long as the mind is absorbed in the laws of karma, that is advice given here. What will happen? A certain type of body must be accepted in the next life. So karma is nothing but aggregate of fruitive activities conducted to make this body comfortable or uncomfortable. Both are karma only. So we have seen that when one man is about to die, he requested his physician to give him a chance to live for 4 more years so that he could finish his plans. This means that while dying, he was thinking of his plans. After his body was destroyed, he doubtlessly carries his plans with him by means of the subtle body. Because subtle body is having mind, intelligence, and ego that is never got destroyed. He continuously possesses the plans in the same subtle body to execute the plans to get a next gross body. This is the law of karma. Because he would get another chance by the grace of the Supreme Lord, by the super soul who is always within his heart. Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanancha. So how he remembers to execute the plan in another gross body and enjoy or suffer in the next birth, he acquires the remembrance from the super soul. He begins to execute the plans that he had created in his past body, which was beginning in the previous life. Because how can this be possible? Because in Bhagavad Gita it is said, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridesh arjuna tishtati. So, Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart. And he will direct the wandering of all living entities. The living entities are situated in what I can say, a machine, yantra rudani mayaya. This machine is made of material energy. So the living entity is situated on the vehicle given by the material energy. And then the super soul reminds him within the heart. And then the living entity struggles all over the universe to fulfill his plans, thinking I am Brahmana, I am Kshatriya, I am an American, I am an Indian, and so on and so forth. These designations are of the same essence. There is no point in becoming a Brahmana in preference to an American, or becoming an American in preference to a, say, Brahmana or anything, or a Negro. After all, these are all bodily, including Brahmana. It's all bodily conceptions under the modes of material nature only. So this material world is created in that particular essence, and the living entity is entangled. So unless otherwise one is taken to devotional service. What is the meaning of liberation? Liberation means actually get rid of your subtle body. That is called liberation. Because after liberated, you are the soul, you are pure. It is at that time that you can render the pure, unalloyed, loving, devotional service unto the Lord. Because as long as we are in the material concept, Lord also does not want us to be interested in spirituality, because spiritual is all pure. So liberation does not mean you take mukti, you go to Vaikuntha. That is also liberation. But the real liberation is that you are not entangled within your subtle body, your plans. Accept Lord's plan. Give up your plan. Accept Krishna's plan. Then you will be out from the subtle body, because the subtle body carries along with your plan to the next gross body. You keep changing the gross body, having the same subtle body, making more plans, more plans, more plans. So each plan has to produce one gross body for you in order to execute that. So liberation means just getting out of the subtle body. How can that be possible? Like Ambarish Maharaj. Mana savai mana Krishna padara vindayo. Situate the mind in the lotus feet of Krishna. Do Archa Vigraha. Accept a bona fide spiritual master. Chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra under his bona fide guidance. Perform devotional service is the only way to get out from the subtle body, which is actually forcing you to act the way you act. You don't want to act, but you are forced to act the way you act, because you have planned in your previous body. And because of the plan, you got this body. Now that plan has to be executed. Paramatma is witness. So he's directing you. No, you have to execute this because you got this body, because you did plan in your previous birth. Now you execute it. The only way to liberate is surrender. That is why Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam raja. Don't plan for your betterment of life, advancement of civilization, and create so many sacrifices or whatever ritualistic ceremonies. Give up all those things. Surrender unto Krishna. Original spiritual status has to be reinstated. You can call that liberation or mukti or whatever it is. You will be totally out from the material concept, both gross and subtle. So how can that be possible? Only in human form of life, you get that opportunity. In human form of life, you have to accept a bona fide spiritual master, then it is possible. Otherwise, in human form of life also, you don't have the chance. So the soul's is spiritual master. And you can come out from illusion when you accept the guidance and perform accordingly. So these instructions about the law of karma, stringent law of karma, is instituted by Krishna through the Munis, the assembly of those who have lost their relatives. And they realize that we have nothing to do with all these material paraphernalia. When they realize this, it is because of law of karma and it's not me. Why should I be entangled? Then they become free from the material attachment. How it is possible? Because they are associated with the Lord's devotees there. When you are associating with the Lord's devotee or bona fide spiritual master, who are able to inject the transcendental sound into the depths of the bewildered heart. So he will make one practically liberated for all kind of lamentation and illusion. This is the potency of spiritual master. That is the potency. Any amount of stringent material laws that cannot act on the person who has taken shelter of a spiritual master. And he will not undergo the birth, death, old age, disease. This is a maximum extent or the highest degree of the stringent law of material nature to put you in the birth, death, old age, and disease. Because in this material existence, there is no solution to this four. So in this way, the Lord and the Munis assembled there have pacified this particular devotees, those who have lost their relatives. Shantha, Gopi, you want to tell anything, or we can go to the next?
Yes, we can go to the next.
Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, verse 5. Sadayitva jata satro Samrajyam Ketavairhritam
Swamrajyam Kitavairghitam
Gatayitva Sato Rajna
Ghatayitva Sato Rajna
Kachasparshak Shathayushva
Kachasparshatayusha
Sadayitva Ajata Shatro
Sadayitva Satro
Swamrajyam Ketvairhitam
Swamrajyam Kitavairghitam
Gatayitva Sato Rajna
Gatayitva Sato Rajna
Kachasparshak Shathayushva
Kachasparshatayusha
Sadayitva Jata
Sadayitva
bol, go ahead.
Sadayitva jato satro
Sadayitva Jato Satro
Samrajyam Kitavairhritam
Samrajyam Kitavairghitam
Gatayitva Sato Rajna
Gatayitva Sato Rajna
Kachasparsha Chatayusha
Kachasparshak Shathayushva. So, synonyms: Sadayitva, having executed.
Sadayita, having executed.
Ajata Satro, of one who has no enemy.
Ajata Satru, of one who has no enemies.
Swam Rajyam, own kingdom.
Swamrajyam, own kingdom.
Kithavai, by the clever Duryodhana and party.
Kithavai, by the clever Duryodhana and party.
Kritam, usurped.
Kritam, usurped.
Gatayitva, having killed.
Gatayitva,
having
having killed.
Asata, the unscrupulous.
Asata, the unscrupulous.
Rajna of the queens.
Rajna of the queens.
The queens.
Kacha, bunch of hair.
A bunch of hair.
Parsha, roughly handled.
Roughly handed.
Shata, decreased.
Decreased.
Ayusha, by the duration of life.
Ayusha, by the duration of life.
Translation, please repeat after me. The clever Duryodhana and his party
The clever Duryodhana and his party
cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthira,
usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthira,
who had no enemy.
who had no enemy.
By the grace of the Lord,
By the grace of the Lord,
the recovery was executed.
the recovery
The
was
recovery was executed.
And the unscrupulous kings who joined the Duryodhana
and the
unscrupulous
kings
kings
joined
with
with
Duryodhana
were killed by him.
were
were
killed by him.
Others also died,
Others
Others
also
also died.
their duration of life having decreased.
The
their duration of life having decreased,
For the rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi,
For
for
the
their rough
handling of
handling of
hair
the hair of Queen Draupadi.
For what? In the glorious days or before the advent of the age of Kali, the Brahmanas, the cows, the women, and the children and the old men were properly given protection. Number one, the protection of the Brahmanas maintains the institution of Varna and Ashrama, the most scientific culture of attainment of spiritual life. Number two, the protection of cows maintains the most miraculous form of food, that
Can you
is
scroll?
for maintaining the finer tissues of the brain for understanding higher aims of life. Number three, the protection of women maintains the chastity of society, which we can get a good generation for peace, tranquility, and progress of life. Number four, the protection of children gives the human form of life its best chance to prepare the way of liberty from material bondage. Such protection of children begins from the very day of begetting a child by the purificatory process of Garbhadhana Sanskara, the beginning of pure life. Number five, the protection of old men gives them a chance to prepare themselves for better life after death. This complete outlook is based on factors leading to successful humanity as against the civilization of polished cats and dogs. The killing of the above mentioned innocent creatures is totally forbidden because even by insulting them one loses one's duration of life. In the age of Kali, they are not properly protected, and therefore the duration of life of the present generation has shortened considerably. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that when the women become unchaste for want of proper protection, there are unwanted children called Varna Sanskara. To insult a chaste woman means to bring about disaster in the duration of life. Dushasana, a brother of Duryodhana, insulted Draupadi, an ideal chaste lady, and therefore the miscreants died untimely. These are some of the stringent laws of the Lord mentioned above.
Hariom Tatsat. So this is a very important verse here, that what are all the calamity that Duryodhana and the party has created for them, and what is the result? So this happened actually 5,000 years ago during Dwapara Yuga, before the advent of the Kali Yuga. Those time Varnashrama Dharma was in action, and children, women, old men, and cows, they were protected by all classes of men, irrespective of Kshatriya, Brahmana, Vaishya. Everybody were focusing on protecting these four, cows, women, children, and the old men. Prabhupada has written elsewhere also in Srimad Bhagavatam purport that why this Kali Yuga, the age is reduced, it is because they are not protecting these four, cow, children, women, and old men. When their protection for them is challenged, it will reduce the duration of life. What to speak of protection, even insult will reduce the duration of life. What is the result of reducing duration of life? Untimely death. That is very dangerous, untimely death. This is never expected. Once one of the citizen whose sons were untimely death during Arjuna and Krishna were present, he was challenging the king. How it is my son has died before me? Which means that a son cannot die before the father dies. Otherwise, the putra, the word putra will lose its meaning. It loses its potency. Son can't die before the father. It is impossible according to the Varnashrama Dharma, and it doesn't work that way also. That is the law of nature. That is how it was. And a citizen could challenge the king. What kind of ruling are you doing? My son died, I am living. How it is possible? So Arjuna and Krishna had to find out why it happened. And they went all the way to meet Vishnu, who was eager to see Krishna. So that's a very beautiful pastime anyway. So here, that much the cows, women, and children and old men should be protected. And of course, property should be given protection. Not that properties are meant for destruction. And the protection of the Brahmana will automatically maintain the Varnashrama Dharma in the society. So the four protection of Brahmana, protection of cow, protection of women and old men. So the protection of cows, that will maintain the milk for maintaining the finer tissues of the brain for understanding higher aims of life. Transcendental brain tissue grows only through the cow milk, and there is no any alternative mechanism for that. And transcendental brain tissue will give you high thinking and simple living. Philosophy of Krishna consciousness. And the third, when you want to protect the women, naturally chastity of the entire society depends on the chastity of the women. So the good generation of the peace, tranquility, proper progress towards Krishna consciousness in every citizen's life, these are all assured only by the chastity of women in the society. So the protection of the women plays most crucial role here in order to maintain a good society. And protection of the children. So that gives a chance for the children to prepare for, for the ultimate goal of life, to be Krishna consciousness. Because from the very beginning, even before instantiating the birth of the child, the Garbhodana Samskara, so that is called a purificatory process. There are several stages of purificatory process in one's life, starting from very birth, before birth itself, starting with Garbhodana Samskara. The Samskaras are purificatory rituals for one's life to be elevated towards Krishna consciousness gradually, based on the Varnashrama Dharma. So these are all essential. Even today, the Vaishnava, this Sarvadharman Parityaja has already been implemented here. All kind of ritualistic activities are abandoned by all kind of people, but unfortunately, not intelligently, but out of ignorance, they did that. But however, even in today, in Vaishnava families, this Garbhodana Samskara is recommended, and they are performing. And protection of old men. So that gives them a chance to execute Krishna consciousness at the end of their life, to get a better birth or to get no birth. So these are all the main factors: protection of cows, protection of Brahmanas, protection of women, protection of old men in the society is essential, so that the humanity can grow towards the ultimate goal of life, to be Krishna consciousness, or to learn and engage oneself in pure, unalloyed, loving devotional service unto Krishna. That is the purpose of life. But the so-called, after the implementing the Sarvadharma Parityaja, what did they do? These people, they started living the cats and dogs life in a polished manner. Whatever cats and dogs do, the same thing I do, but I do it within four walls, on a skyscraper building, on a cushion bed, and so on, dining table, and so on, cushion car. So this is called polished cats and dog civilization. Actually, Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was the first one to accept the royalty and the richness of this particular world into Krishna consciousness, for want of giving a chance to those who are rich and those who are high class, so-called high class people, and in order to invade them, similar environment is required. Otherwise, they won't even come for Krishna consciousness. It is for their benefit. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was the first one to introduce this motor cars and buildings into this Krishna consciousness movement. And then Srila Prabhupada has expanded on the basis of utility is the principle. Otherwise, all the rich people, well-educated people, they will not turn to Krishna consciousness at all. Because you go and live in a forest, live in a hut, and just worship a deity, and then you die. Don't know that you are dying or you are not dying. You're going back home, back to God, chant some mantras and sit in a corner, eat a little grain or whatever. Not like that. So to give, the real Krishna conscious person is interested in preaching and not isolating himself and going and living in the forest of Vrindavan. So that is why Srila Prabhupada came out from Vrindavan. He didn't go and settle in Vrindavan. He came out. Where did he come out to? He come out to the western place where all kind of culture and cultureless humans, Sunyavadis, Mayavadis, Malechas, Yavanas, all of them are there. Godless civilization where they're living like cats and dogs in a polished manner. So he has created a similar, very rich environment with all good building, cushions, this, that, car, bungalow, everything. He has accepted in the Krishna consciousness to give such people a chance to invite them. Otherwise, they will never turn this side. So this is the sacrifice that they're doing. So a preacher has to see that how to preach. For that, he can accept all kind of royalties. So the real Krishna conscious person's purpose is to preach the innocent creatures so that they will be having a chance to progress in Krishna consciousness towards the ultimate goal of life. Because protecting these cows, women, old men, children, this has gone long back. And already the lifespan has been reduced before even advent of Kali. Before even advent of Kali. It has happened. Otherwise, how Ashwatthama could kill the young sons, sleeping sons? How could he beget them? That was impossible, right? But because of this, no protection to women, Draupadi, how she was insulted by Dushasana. It is intolerable for the planet what Dushasana has done. And now in the duration of Kali, everybody's life tenure is very much reduced. Alpayushu, prana, alpayushu prana. Because that is the Kali Yuga. Why? Because none of them are protected. Even cows are not protected. Cows are not protected. Cows give milk, which give transcendental brain tissues. And even cows are not protected. Women are not, children are not protected. So this is the very poor status of this precarious Kali Yuga. And therefore the duration of life of the present generation has shortened very considerably, dramatically, drastically, from 1,000 years to 100 years in less than 100 years now. And of course, so what will be the result of this thing that we are already practically experiencing? Dushasana, how he insulted Draupadi. She is an ideal chaste lady. So immediately he died untimely. Everybody dies untimely. And untimely death is not just by meeting with an accident. Untimely death is due to reduction of the lifespan. You have a lifespan. But by virtue of our abominable activities of unprotecting this particular civilization, we are losing our duration of life. So the untimely death comes. Okay, so Shantha, Gopi, you want to add anything?
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Shall I?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So here in very nice poem, Ajnana Tibiram Dasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vacharam Pangam Langayate Girim Yakripathamaham Manti Sri Gurum Dinakarina Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminuti Namine Namo Acharya Padaya Nithaya Kripa Pradayine Gaura Kata Damadaya Nagara Grama Tarini Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Here many secrets are revealed. Here Duryodhana is described as very clever. That has to be noted. In material world, people consider cleverness as intelligence, whereas Krishna describes intelligence in Bhagavad Gita, knowledge in Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes people also materially, if somebody is very, he knows a lot of things, they consider general knowledge or knowledge. That is knowledge. Who is the president of America? And if somebody knows the answer, oh, so knowledgeable. Sorry, next year somebody else is the president. Next year somebody else is the president. So whatever he is telling is temporary, and how that can be knowledge? That is ignorance. His answer is wrong next year. His answer was wrong before 10 years. So Krishna is describing what is knowledge. The discrimination between what is matter and what is spirit is considered knowledge. This is the definition given by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita for knowledge. And cleverness. We see sometime in Western India especially, lot of business community is there, and they always calculate, they know in which we invest money, we will get more money, and this and that. They know so much knowledge about how we can multiply the money, this, that, and all that. And they're very, very clever. We cannot think like them, because we will always, the normal human beings who are followers of Manu is to benefit the humans. Apart from doing business, apart from earning money, there is profit. There is, apart from earning profit, always we will never do anything which is dangerous to human society or destroy the human society. We'll be very, very careful. But sometimes we see that some clever plans are made, cleverly they talk, cleverly, especially in management schools when we go, we see this clever and we are shocked. We'll become shocked. So one time we were in a management school, and every principle which they do is actually, they don't bother about the society, they don't bother, only the multiplying of the money. And of course, we also went through it, but we understood that this is not usable. Whichever is usable in Krishna service, of course, we'll use, but otherwise, if you can pay a little bit of money. So how much, if you're going to sell the product, how much will be the price you will quote? So, okay, normally everybody will say, okay, for me to make a shampoo packet or something, I want to make a product. So whatever is the shampoo, this much is the cost, and this much is for making packet. Oh, itna hota hai. Okay, totally put together, in order to one sachet is coming at the cost of maybe 2 rupees. The shampoo which is there inside cost, maybe the packet itself cost more than 1 rupee, but the shampoo is costing like 70 paise, 1 rupee, 70 paise. But the question which they asked just now, that leave that at one side. We don't create the pricing like that. It's a wrong pricing. Go to the, what is the willingness to pay to a shampoo packet which is of a very nicely marketed. So marketing ke liye, of course, we need to have 30 paise per sachet or something. So 2 rupees per sachet. Go to the market and see that what is the willingness to pay to the crowd whom you are targeting. If they are willing to, so the person who is creating a packet of shampoo for 2 rupees will say that, okay, I want at least, some greedy person will say, I want double profit. 2 rupees it takes, so I'll charge 4 rupees per packet. Because I want double the profit. Whatever I invested, I want to take double. And that is one thing, MRP is now 4 rupees. Or 4.5 rupees, 5 rupees, 50 paisa margin. So but that institute management, they're teaching, no, you find how much is the capacity to pay. They are all well-earning people. You're targeting on a niche crowd. You're targeting on a little richer crowd, not on the roadside people. They generally are able to pay around 8 to 9 rupees. So other products are there in the market with 8 to 9 rupees going on. You play with that, your competitors, and charge it like 8 rupees. Don't think of your profit, play with the market. And somebody asked the question, no, in the market itself, it is going for 4 rupees only, 4 or 5 rupees. Then They said, don't manufacture such product. Don't sell such product. No, yeah, I'm getting double the money. I'm getting double the money than what I invested. So the question is not investing, but cheating. This is cunningness. So even in Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, first chapter itself, Sanjaya is describing, and Prabhupada is describing the purport, that talking of Duryodhana with Bhishma was very diplomatic. Very diplomatic. So this being very chalu in material world, very smart in material world is the worst qualification to be in spiritual world, in to be part of Lord Chaitanya's movement. This clever, the word clever is used for jackal, not for the lion. It is used only for the jackal. So jackal, lion is the king of the forest. Okay, it plays properly. It goes and hunts its own food. Straightforward. It has the capacity and skill and talent to do that. Knowledge and intelligence is imbibed. So it is the king of the forest. The jackal can never hunt its own food. But by hook or crook, it will take the remnants. It will make somebody else hunt and it will go and eat the remnants. So in business talent, very intelligent. Some Prabhuji is very intelligent. He knows how to give business ideas. He's not qualified even to be in part of Lord Chaitanya's movement. He has to become humble and submiss to Lord. I am very full. That I am materially very talented, which means I practice to expertly live in material world. I can train people to expertly live in material world only. How can I be a spiritual guide and let him cry? That is the way he has to save himself. So this Western, especially Western side of India, has such an influence that it will make us run behind matter, multiplication, calculation. We will lose the focus of spiritual life. Very, very dangerous. Lord Chaitanya traveled, whichever place Lord Chaitanya traveled is so auspicious places. You see people in those places, they just are happy with what they get. And if they are given Krishna consciousness, they take Krishna consciousness nicely, whatever possible, they perform. So they don't mix Krishna consciousness with matter or material or money multiplication, business and business multiplication and creating products. Even cow protection has become a bogus propaganda and agenda today. Because government has said that we will provide funding to the person who will do animal protection. Suddenly from somewhere cow protection has come. Itna cow protection, so much cow protection is happening. So we know it is ulterior motive. Really protecting cow was not in the agenda. But suddenly it has come into the agenda because they will get money. So and one more time I also heard that somebody was telling me, see, I want to protect a cow, so they are not allowing to protect the cow. Okay, so how did you do that? That was a class home, so people were discussing. No, in my apartment, there's a car parking. We have a car parking. We didn't disturb anybody. We have a car parking, in which car parking we tied a cow. We got a cow and we kept the cow there. We nicely provided food. But the apartment association was objective. The residential society, that's also village only, a kind of village and a holy place. They were refusing. Because there was a Goshala nearby. A temple has a Goshala. They can go, they can give that one cow there. But they want to use the cow like an ATM machine, which gives the cash. They want to use the cow for providing milk. Because brain tissue will come brain tissue. So what brain tissue? You will misuse mother cow for your brain tissue. Protecting cow means genuinely protecting without expectation. Don't expect. That's why Prabhu was just now telling all these things which is mentioned. This is a Vedic system. Now everybody is protected only by the holy name and nothing else. Take shelter of the holy name, take shelter of Acharya Parampara. We are not the body, we are spirit, soul. So save the soul. Why saving the dress? Somebody is drowning man. Why to save the dress and give him some tissue? What tissue? Sattva guna hai, tamo guna, raj guna. What difference does it make? But the person is transcendental guna. So give him chanting, give him worship of the Lord, give him the dham, give him that worshipping of the deities. In this way, he has to engage in the service of Supreme Lord Krishna. In that way, one can really save the person, the real person, not the dress. Somebody was drowning. So he doesn't know swimming, he is drowning in the river. Another man jumped into the river to save the man. Then he took the shirt and came back and told everybody, I saved him and came. See, I got his shirt. Why, where is the person? No, he is gone. That's okay, your shirt is there, no. Same way, this body is certainly going to be destroyed. You save the body, how much ever. So this cow is supposed to live in a beautiful, natural environment with its own kid. It's basically mother. The milk comes from mother's breast. Not like simply you use it like some vending machine. But there is no calf also. There is no bull also. Is this the way to treat? So, in this way, there is a Goshala. The Goshala, they are taking care. Overall, we understood it's a selfish idea that you want milk for your child, so much attached to your own children. You want to give pure cow milk. And you go near a Goshala and you get the Goshala's milk. You don't want to offer to Krishna. Your idea is to your own tummy. There is no Krishna involved in that. But posing as devotee, you want to maintain a cow in the courtyard so that they will get nice pure cow milk, so some brain tissue will happen. No, lovingly offer that milk to Krishna, automatically what brain tissue? You will get prema only. So that was very objectionable. That only one cow is put in a concrete floor in an apartment complex. What is this? Is this the house for a cow? So they don't even understand in Kali Yuga how to protect cows. And the agenda now is so much cow protection is going on to increase their project or get money. This shouldn't be the case. Genuine affection. See who has started the cow protection before 20-50 years. In Mayapur, the Goshala was started many years before. Before government announced people give some money or give anything. Guru Maharaj just started Goshala because he's a genuine leader. Not like suddenly some political influence I want, so I will keep cow. Ye rakhne se wo aata hai, wo rakhne se ye aata hai. What manipulation? Krishna is the supreme manipulator. You see here what happened. Everybody dies. All your plan will also die. Prabhu was telling like how plan we carry out. How karma is coming. Plan karo, agla life mana padega. You have to come back in the next life in order to execute your plan. This is karma bandhana. You are bonding yourself. So chalu. Here, Duryodhana is called clever. Yudhishthira is not clever. He's an intelligent and knowledgeable person. You see Arjuna and Krishna made a decision. You see what is the comment which is given. What is the translation? See what is given there. Sorry, 1 second please. So what is the cleverness is different from knowledge or intelligence. And knowledge definition is already given. The intelligence on the order of the spiritual master, we execute some things. Otherwise, even though we know we have enthusiasm, we have passion, all our passion and enthusiasm has become karma bandhana all these years. Why? I can't do something for Krishna. I can't do something for the movement. I want to be something. Be here only. Be here only. This is the attitude perfect for material world. You have been trained by a person who is perfectly fit for material world. You're clever. You can be very clever. Stay there. But you won't stay there also because Krishna wants devotee to be the ruler. What to do? Sorry. You're a failure. See what happens here. You see can you read the Vrajeshwar Prabhu? Can you read the translation slowly once? What happens to the clever person? I don't know. Maybe I need to read.
The clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly ushered to the kingdom of Yudhishthira, who had no enemy. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the unscrupulous kings who joined with Duryodhana were killed by him. Others also died, their duration of life having decreased for the rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi.
Yeah, so what wins? Whether cleverness and cunningness wins. Clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthira. What is the quality of Yudhishthira? He doesn't have enemies. And how? By the grace of the Lord. Sometimes they say that, oh, you're very sentimental. You're not knowledgeable. You're not very clever. You're not very smart. You're very sentimental. Sentiment towards Guru and Krishna is supreme success. And Panchabandavas had so much affection for Krishna that when Krishna gave an option to choose between himself and his complete Sena, complete soldiers, all horse, soldiers, elephantry, everything. When Krishna asked a choice and Arjuna was given the first choice, still Arjuna chose only Krishna. So Duryodhana was laughing, he is not clever. Duryodhana was laughing, Arjuna was such a poor decision maker. He was a sentimentalist. Krishna is from the background of a village. What does he know? And he suddenly became Dwaraka's king, not even king. Dwaraka me, his grandfather is the king. So why this boy is big, this covered boy? Normally, even in this world, pure devotees are not recognized. When Krishna was there, Krishna was not recognized. If you don't recognize a pure devotee, you are also Duryodhana only. He may be in front of you. Pure devotee may be in Mayapur. You may come to Mayapur. You won't listen to him and go. You are also like that. You're blind. You're a blind man. Who created this also, you don't know. Like in material world, we are there. We don't know. We are not want to give any credit to the creator. That is called atheism. Same way, you're a devotee. After Prabhupada, Mayapur has developed so much. You're coming and enjoying every part of devotional service. But you don't want to give credit to the pure devotee who is part of a sincere mission of his death. Guru Maharaj, he doesn't have enemies, a sincere soul. Then what is the difference? What is the difference? So, and the uncircled king. So, Yudhishthira was very simple. And he had no enemies. He never considered anybody enemy. He just followed the scriptures. That's it. But what happened? By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed. The recovery will be done. And the uncircled kings who joined Duryodhana were killed by him. Others also died. The Lord desires, let him die, and they'll be died. And the duration of life having decreased for their rough handling of the hair of Kavindavati. More than that, if they do Vaishnava Aparadha, thinking that the women are less intelligent, they are devotees are very sentimental, they are going Krishna, Krishna, Gauranga, Gauranga, they are shouting, what is this, Guru Maharaj, they are running like this, and they give some disturbance to them, then they'll be destroyed. We also saw one more pastime recently in Haridas Thakur pastime in Chaitanya Leela, that this Ramachandra Khan, he saw that Haridas Thakur is becoming very famous, but he is from a Muslim family. Oh, I belong to the city. I belong here, and I am not becoming so famous. So let us test him. Let him send us a prostitute or make him fall. So he sent. And a prostitute also became very pure Vaishnavi. And Haridas Thakur left her in that cottage with small hut he has made and with Tulasi. He told his disciple, that lady, just worship Tulasi, chant Hare Krishna and stay here. She became a very amazing, sincere Vaishnava. So that Ramachandra Khan's envy was not, it was burning. He was not able to defeat pure, but Haridas Thakur left. But what did Supreme Lord do? Nityananda Prabhu came to that village again in his preaching mission. Again he came to the village. Do you think again Ramachandra Khan was the ruler of the kingdom? He chased away Haridas Thakur, the victory is on the side. No. No. Outside of Benapol, the place is called in Bangladesh, Benapol. The outside of Benapol, there is a forest. There Haridas Thakur was standing. He was not even inside the city. But nobody can tolerate his fame. Not nobody. This envious person, he cannot tolerate his fame. And then what happened? Nityananda Prabhu came. And he purposely went to that Ramachandra Khan's house. And he went and sat in the Durga Mandap. Purposely. He knows that Ramachandra Khan is envious of Vaishnavas. And so many people, whenever Nityananda Prabhu comes, so many people come. Why so many people? Why you don't like? Sorry, in spiritual world, so many millions of gopis are there. Please don't come there. You don't want crowd? Go to Brahmajyoti. You want graveness, you want peacefulness, you want silence, go to graveyard. You can go to graveyard. Very calm and silent. Goloka Vrindavan is filled with people. Yeah? Every living entity, everything is living entity. Flute is a living entity, tree is a living entity, grass is a living entity. Of course, they are. Stone is a living entity, chair is a living entity, door is a living entity, pillow is a living entity. Everything is a living entity in spiritual world. So much crowd, how will you manage? Oh, Guru Maharaj having so much crowd, he is having so many people, how he is managing? He is having capacity, you don't have capacity, don't compare yourself with him. You are fallen. He is empowered. Unless somebody is empowered by Supreme Lord, how one can promote only devotional service and become famous? Deviating from devotional service and some psychological talks you can give and you want to be famous and you're running behind fame is different. From a person genuinely promoting pure Krishna consciousness and becoming famous, yeah? Not ordinary, empowered by the Guru. Srila Bhakti, our A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Empowered by him, empowered by Acharya Prabhupada, empowered by Krishna and Supreme Personality of God at Gauranga. Empowered by so many people are coming. You can't tolerate crowd, then you cannot be in spiritual world also. Oh, so many people, so many people. So in this way, so many people came to Nityananda Prabhu. So that Ramachandra Khan didn't even come. He wanted to chase away Nityananda Prabhu. He was very angry. And he was burning in this house with his family. So he his followers and people who are, he also has a crowd. Due to his money, he will purchase his name and glory, he will purchase people. Insincere followers. So he sent his servant and told that you move away from here and go where the cows will be grazing. Go to the cow grazing field because so much crowd is there. We cannot handle you with the crowd. You have to vacate here. Who is he to say the Supreme Lord Balaram? Today is Balaram Jayanti. Jai Baladev Bhaiya ki Jai. Nityananda Prabhu, he purposely went in order to destroy Ramachandra Khan because he has offended Haridas Thakur Mekanith, continuously trying to offend him, bring a bad name to him. So he planned, I will destroy this fellow. Let him offend me and let him get destroyed. So the servant came and he told that go where the cows are grazing, get out from here, it's not crowd. We cannot handle so much crowd here, always bigger crowd and all. This Durga Mandap is full, you just get out from here. The servant came and told. So Prabhupada is writing in purport, even if Ramachandra Khan wants Nityananda Prabhu to go, he should have come and told, my dear sir, please, there's not enough space, big crowd, please go. Why he sent a servant? That itself is very disrespectful. Then nothing, Nityananda Prabhu got up from here, he had a plan. So he told that this Durga Mandap is used for puja purposes. Okay. So he told here, this place is worthy only for cow killing. And he went away from there. And when Nityananda Prabhu went away with this crowd, of course he went singing beautifully. And he went on preaching mission, he fulfilled his mission. And here, that Ramachandra Khan was in some government service, earning a lot of money. And immediately there was income tax kind of thing. Somebody came, that Muslim minister came in order to inquiry. He stayed in the Durga Mandap because it's a nice place to conveniently stay. All his Muslim followers were there. They were killing animals. They were killing cow, and he was cooking animal meat and cow meat in the same Durga Mandap, and they were all eating and feasting. And he chased away. He saw the accounts and he chased away all the people. Ramachandra Khan and everybody, the entire village became deserted. So in this way, one should be very, very careful. Being very cunning and intelligence is not important. Being a sincere servant and disciple of Guru and Krishna with a nice, loving, favorable heart is very important. That is enough. By the grace of the Lord, everything will fall in place. We are not Kshatriyas, so I will do this protection, I will do that protection. You can't protect your own head, Baba. Kab mar jayega, who will die when, who knows? It may be your day tomorrow. So what is humility? Humility is to understand that Supreme Personality of God is everything. My duty is simply serve Him lovingly. This is my only duty. I don't have any other duty here. This is actually, Lord is supreme. He can do everything. Self-confidence is such a perfectness. But knowing that I am a spirit soul and I start performing devotional service under the bona fide spiritual master, then that self-confidence is correct. Self means soul, not the body, not the money, not multiplication, not business, not so-called cunningness, talent. How smartly I will catch a seat, how smartly I will do this, how smartly when I go in a bus I will catch a seat, how I will bypass the queue and all these things, except for, of course, devotion. This is not smartness. Material world people climb in the corporate ladder with so much cunningness and smartness. One fine day, we know some senior people in IBM also. Suddenly cancer, and she died. She was a very nice lady, of course, but of course, to come up in the corporate ladder, we have to play something, especially in management. Suddenly she's dead, one of her friends. And where is all your cunningness and talent? वो plan लेकर आओ, next जन्म में IBM नहीं होगा. Then where will you execute your coming plan? In appropriate place. And you have to come back again into this material world of birth, death, old age, and disease. So we should be very, very careful what kind of mentality we are having, what attitude we are having towards Guru and Krishna. This is very, very important. If you don't have affection, cry, I don't have affection. Cry, I'm not having affection. Why my heart is not melting? Why I am? In this way, spend your time. Instead of cunningly planning something. It's better. Okay. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Even that cunningness and smartness we can use in the service of Krishna only if it is essential and ordered by Guru. That's it. Otherwise, we don't use, even if we have. Nothing wrong. Why Jackal cannot become a devotee? It can become a devotee, but a devotee's character is surrender to Guru and Krishna is the primary thing. Loving them is primary thing. Then comes our whatever modes of nature and what karma we are carrying, what subtle body we are carrying. There is a past time how Jackal was saved by Radharani in Vrindavan. So that is possible. But first to be a devotee, no? Attachment to Guru and Krishna is not sentiment. Big fool is telling. The spiritual master is sentimental. Yes, it is not mental. You are a mental. He is transcendental. So these foolish ideas has to be thrown away. Understand Krishna consciousness properly. It's a science. And what it will not be like material science. It will totally contradictory to material science. Oh, I will be scientifically giving lecture. I will quote Einstein. I will quote somebody, whatever Newton law. Only then it is scientific lecture. So you don't believe Krishna consciousness is science?
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
sorry.
Krishna Pranam.
Jai.
Yeah, there itself your science is gone. So you are in ignorance and you want to claim you are preaching to be science. So that is very, very dangerous. So we should stick to our science and preach Krishna consciousness boldly. Take inspiration and instruction from authorized spiritual master and follow his instruction and spread Krishna consciousness. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Sorry, my voice was very bad. I have throat problem. Thank you very much. Hari Bol. Sorry, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Vrajeshwar Prabhu, wish you all a happy, blissful Balram Jayanti.
Wish you all a very blissful Balram Purnima. Balram ji ki, Daud ji ki jai. So very auspicious in Vrindavan temple. You can see how the Balram Jayanti is wonderfully celebrated since Mangalarti. Very nice. So enjoy. In Krishna book, there are Balaram's pastimes narrated. So you can read that. Today is a very auspicious day. You can pray to Balram. He is such a kind-hearted. You will never find a heart like Balram's heart. He never knew anything called enemy. He gets angry for only one reason. If anyone is, insulting Krishna or opposite to Krishna, he gets angry like madman. Even after getting such angry, when he indulges in very destructive activity, because he got so much angry if somebody is against Krishna. And then if the same person comes and fall at his lotus feet and beg forgiveness, he immediately forgives and releases him from all the anxieties. So Balram is very kind. He's a perfect spiritual master of all spiritual masters, Nityananda Balarama. Balaram Hoilo Nitai. So he came as Nityananda Prabhu 500 years ago. So in that also we could see he is unlimitedly merciful. So today is a day we must meditate on the lotus feet of Balaram. He is very kind to every living entity, both conditioned and liberated. And is very merciful. And he has a nature of forgiveness. extremely available in Balram. He's full of forgiveness, nature of forgiveness, so much. And he's take to so much kind. And in the mood of Nityananda Prabhu, anyone chants Gaura Hari's name, he loves them like anything. So this is the very wonderful mood of Balram. We can pray to him to remove our anarthas and engage us in the pure unalloyed loving devotion service into Radha and Krishna. Even he wills that we engage in such service more than we can will. So that is because he is the master of all spiritual masters. So any questions or comments or realizations you can share with us? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you very much for your association. So let's wind up and start sharp at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning IST with a chanting congregation, chanting of the holy name of the Lord, and followed by tomorrow is Saturday. Yeah, tomorrow is Saturday. However, tomorrow there will not be Srimad Bhagavatam class by Guru Maharaj because he is here in Bangladesh. So what do you think, Shantha Gopi? Can we have Bhagavatam session tomorrow? Or we'll give weekend?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we will have Bhagavatam session tomorrow because Guru Maharaj Bhagavatam will not be there. So tomorrow we will again have Bhagavatam session after the chanting the holy name of the Lord. Thank you very much. Grandra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Padita Paun Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Padita Paun Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Bhagavat Satsang ki jai.
Jai.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.